Alright, y'all, we're getting started. July 4th slideshow. This is really fun to make. I just want to show you today essentially how I did this. Hope it gives you some insight into the process of making stuff. I'm going to show you the full screen. We're going to show you... Not showing you the studio today. Let's have some fun. So I'm going to start just by editing some photos here. And let me show you how I do the quick edits as people are sending them to me. I'll talk you through the process. There were some people who missed out and wanted to add some extra stuff to the slideshow. So I ended up recropping some of these too if it made more sense to have a tighter shot. I think that looks good. I do think some enhancement helps. This one's already kind of blurry. This would benefit probably from some pop of some kind because it's already really bright. And yet the shadows aren't really coming through. Like, look at the difference here. I like what this is doing. It has a little too much contrast, I think. There's before and after. So that's adding the pop. This one kind of draws your eye more into it because there's a lot of bright areas. I do like the shadows lifted. It kind of feels cleaner. So that's like a basic. It's great that I have this tool in Google Photos. I had people send me stuff in Google Photos. I don't want to overcook the saturation, but I do like what it's doing. I think all the beautiful colors in here, they're just so washed out and gray, and then all of a sudden they pop. I want to kind of like that cool tone a little bit more. I think it was a little orange. Looks a little more neutral. Also like the pink tones coming through. Makes the floor look green. I do like the skin tones, but I think that looks oversaturated. And I'd rather lower the skin tones and boost the saturation. For some reason, I was doing that a lot with photos. I was lowering the skin tones until it looked not red, and then cranking that saturation because it just brings out all these amazing colors in the phone photos. And I don't think it needs this kind of pop. That just looks over sharpened and bad. Let's do like the vignette though. We'll add the vignette a little later. Like a little bit. Alright, that's our step one. I'm not going to add any filters. They'll probably overcook it. Go through them one by one and edit them. And we'll plug them in. Show you another one here. This one, you can start clicking around and see. I do like the warm tones. It's a little too oversaturated. And I do like, I would have liked a more straight image, but that's not how they chose to shoot it. Even that looks worse. Something's wrong about the angle. But that's what we've been given. I think that looks better. Kind of draws your eye over there. It's all to taste. So it's kind of bright already. And I just want it to be kind of like we're going. I want our eye to go to the food. There's already some natural highlights in it. Right in there. Because that's not really doing much. I have a feeling these sliders aren't going to do very much. I mean, that looks better. The skin tone slider, for some reason, just looks more natural. I think it's underexposed, too. That's a good starting point. I just think it needs a little bit more exposure or gain. But I wanted to get those areas in a decent spot because that was just way too bright. Now we're working with a good starting point. This is another outdoor one. I love this photo. I think the contrast helps and the dynamic, but I also think Usually I don't like the dynamic because it just pushes too much, but in this case, for some reason, it draws your eye to the right places, and I like what it's doing. I think square, because we don't need to see all this stuff going on the left, but I do like the soccer ball there, and I like him kind of in the middle. I do like that. I like that a lot. We were watching the World Cup, and seeing the soccer ball kind of brings it back to that time. I'm not huge on the HDR effect, but I like what it's doing because it's taming the harsh sunlight. So brightness looks good. It's hard to shoot outside on phone cameras. It does wonky things sometimes. I think just want some clarity in the image, and that's all I'm trying to do. I think that adds some clarity. There's a lot of white point areas. I'm gonna do like right in there. Seems we're just balancing it. I do like the highlights. They kind of give some pop to it, like right in here. Look at that. It just brings everything out. I like that. I like the highlights. So the shadows, I like seeing everything that's going on in the photo because got all the little kids. It's just subtle little touches, and I love bringing the blacks down. Somewhere right in there. All of a sudden, you just see all the little texture now and clarity. It's like too bright and gray, and it's too much sunshine, and then a little pop. That's what we want. And I do love the color, but I just need to bring the skin tone down so they don't turn red. And I love that. I hate shifting it green or pink. It just makes it look unnatural. I'm not going to go crazy with the saturation. Want a little bit there. All right. I'm happy with that. Like that before and after. Okay. Google Photos a little, and we also recropped it. I like the square crop. That looks good. From the ice cream shop. There's something cool about this image. It just needs, I'm glad they shot it wide because it needs some stuff. I don't think, these are goofy. I love the dynamic, and I just think it just needs to be straight. Like that feels right. Love that. Much better. Just doing some subtle things to it. It already has a ton of contrast, so I'm going to lower that. A lot of information in the bright areas, the white point, the highlights. And some more detail in the shadows. I love that. It gives some, kind of draws your eyes. See how dark that is? And then all of a sudden you can just see everything. It's like someone turned on a light. And there's a, I'm not going to crush the blacks like I did the other photos. I'm going to pump the saturation again because I love the colors of all the stuff at the ice cream store. Want a little bit cooler tone and make the floor not look green. Okay, I'm happy with that, where that landed. Just lower the skin tone so they don't look red. Leagues ahead of this one. Boom. Just some subtle things. This was a fun photo. Hanging out. 3 cousins. Hadn't seen each other forever, dude, together. None of those look good. All right. I kind of like the square crop just to bring it all in. And look where the third lands, right at me. On the left third. I love that. I love the square crop. Draws your eye in. We could have stand there and talked forever. It was so good to see those guys. I think it's already too bright. It's not capturing a lot of detail with these phone cameras. Less brightness and contrast. I want it to pop though, so I'm adding a little white and some highlight. And there's your detail and clarity. while making everything a little bit smoother with all that light. With all that light. I think information in the shadows is critical too. I don't know, just see how that's like sharp, contrasty, rough, and then that just looks more flat and natural. Don't need all the blacks. So that looks good. Now we're talking. I like a little bit of the green too. For some reason in this image, the green looks better. It just needs a little green shift. A little warmth. Look at that. Cleaned it all up. Very subtle shifts, but went from that with like harshness to softness, friendliness. I like it. I like it. All right. We'll edit it some more probably. Cute. This was a cute moment between two young ones, great grands who had not met yet. I like the softness of this photo, and I like the crop. I don't really want to do much with it because it just kind of is what it is. Let's do a touch just to draw your eye down here. Gets rid of that kind of bright white light, tames it. A little less contrast. Everything seems to be a little bit contrasty on this phone, but because it's blurry too, I want it to feel soft, so I'm gonna bring everything bright down a little bit. It's gonna feel kind of soft. Then, yeah, definitely there's probably a lot of shadow information, so I just want to bring it down a little bit. Same with the blacks. I think that's better. We can always lift the whole thing up later. I love the color in this one, so I'm actually going to bring the saturation and the skin tone up. That's an interesting decision, but there's something about the color that I love. All this bright, colorful, fun stuff. We got a lot of pink going on, so we need some pink and gold to kind of accentuate it, I think. Give it some life. I like that. It's already got a natural vignette at the top, and you see what it's doing to the floor as I bring that in. I love that, but I want to kind of control my vignette. Again, Google Photos does not give you mini selects. This is just kind of a ballpark. This is a cute photo eating some curry with my cousin Mary Claire. Let's tighten it up a little bit. I like what that's doing. The enhance is already getting us off to a good start. I just love a square crop. I think it feels more familial for some reason. Maybe it's like old Instagram. Also, yeah, none of these just... That's kind of cute. I don't really need to see my whole bicep. Decisions. That's cool. That feels right to me. I like that too. It's a lot of micro decisions. That crop feels balanced to me. Okay. A lot of brightness. I know there was a window right there, and there's just a lot of light. So I wanted to bring it down because I like softer feel to all of these. I think it already has too much contrast. The white point kind of gives you some life, so I do like that, as well as the highlights. Yeah, very subtle. Now, as I'm looking here, I mean, this looks, bringing up the shadows really does help this photo. Blacks have to come down. There's a lot of black. We're both wearing black. Skin tone helps a little bit. Makes it feel more alive. Now I'm seeing all this cool color. I think that feels more real. bringing out the saturation. I like it. So we've made huge progress with that. Grammy with their oldest granddaughter. I was thinking enhance fixes that. I'm always a fan of the square crop. I think it looks too social media to do that, you know? I like the square. It kind of brings you in, forces you to be more intentional with the framing and the composition, which is the most important. You know, the brightness almost helps this photo for some reason. It almost looks too dark. That's the original. It kind of makes it pop, but I think it doesn't need the contrast. Man, phones are so contrasty. Pretty balanced. Again, we're just trying to balance it. That looks so much better with more light in the shadow. Man, it looks better. Really just draws you to their face. Kind of has a nice glow to it as opposed to this looks so dark, contrasty. And then it's kind of glowy and nice. But the blacks are a little strong, so I'm going to pull them down a little. You see all that texture. And then the color. There's the color. I do like the color. I think just a little bit of warmth helps. Yeah. Then there's the color in her shirt, like color on, color off. I will add some contrasty vignette stuff. All right. There was another one with Nigel. That's a cute one too. Older brother. That's doing some good stuff right there. I think it's overcooking it a little bit. Gotta do the square crop. Come on, that's cute. I like what that's doing. But because it's already, there's not a lot of detail in the image. I'll live with it. I like the brightness. Man, that's cool. The contrast is too much, though. The highlights are not really doing much, but kind of giving some edge outline to the face. Like it's showing up right in there. Man, this one's hard to fix. You don't have a lot of detail in the dark areas anyway, so I might as well crush them down. And then the saturation, I think everything's a little overcooked in the saturation. See, that looks more pleasing right there. I don't know why. Maybe because there's a lot of color on the wall, and that kind of feels just more flat and natural. Happy. Then add a little warmth back into it. The colors balance are really good. It's just the light on these phone cameras I don't like at all. I do not like. Color was good on that one, but something was wrong with the light balance. And all of a sudden the light balance just has more of a nostalgia to that edit. So and the crop is a huge lifesaver. So we like that. Super subtle. Oh, we got the brothers too. We like that enhance. We need that square crop. Get those lines looking good. It looks crooked in the middle. You see in the line on the wall. I would have had him step a little bit to the left. and get it from a different angle. But I think we can fix this because this is, even that right there is pretty good. Maybe it's the crop. Maybe it's the crop. Maybe I need to recrop it like that. Kind of like that. Either. I like it. I think with the vignette, now that I'm seeing where it's drawing the eyes, you gotta go a little bit that way. Yeah. There we go. Feels apropos. Oh, that's pretty. You gotta have the dynamic for that. Just look at all the texture and detail going on in this photo. Great photo. Great job. I love the brightness in it too. Could add a little more light. There's a lot of weird highlights and stuff going on in the water though. Maybe it's that HDR thing messing me up. There's this white glare that I don't like. And the white point. It's just washing everything out. This is a tough one. This has a lot of middle information. Even at the expense of washing out the ocean, who really cares, right? We like what it's doing to the face. I almost want to just crank it all the way. And the color too. That'll push you away from the ocean. Look at the golden sand with a little tint. There's the blue. The blue's back with the blue tone slider. Easy as that. Man, now we're talking. I mean, I could change the lift in post. I already know what to do there. I don't want vignette. Okay, I like it. Doing some quick edits. We got to get it in the new slideshow. One more edit. Hope you've had fun along this editing journey. Of course, enhance looks great on that one. And we're going to need a recrop. I will shrink it in. I don't know what's going on the edge there. Look at that. It just brings everything into center. We don't need to see all the information. I think that looks good. That's kind of cute. The little lean from Courtney. And then the baby. And that's cute. Kind of has a flare. This is a natural lean to it. I just love that. That's cute. Might have too much lean now. It needs a little more space too, a little more headroom or something. I think that's pretty dang close to what I had envisioned. That's a very fun photo. I think it does need some brightness. Better. Man, just so much detail in the light outside. Love seeing the sun pop. The shadows, you have to be careful. I don't want to pump it too much, but that looks great what the shadows are doing. And then bring the blacks down just a touch. Maybe the whites too. And just dial that in. Okay. Okay. Now we're talking. That's a photo. Great work, everyone submitting all the photos. We'll tighten them up a little bit further. But let me show you what the timeline was looking like. The effects that I had for like these guys right here. Let's just add those. So if I start with that, we're already looking really good. It just adds a basic vignette and just feels more like a photo. But I like the texture. I like what it's doing. It kind of draws your eye to the right places in the photo, away from where there's just nothing going on. And then underneath it, I want this layer. So I bring them up. See, watch this adjustment clip right here. What it's doing to the edge, on and off. See what it did there? Adding a very slight edge. I'm just going to rebuild what I think it needs. I would look at it and say, I think it needs a blanking fill. And I would add that to the clip, and there it is extended out. So let's go in the effects. See the screen. I'm going to, so I can completely blur it out. And also shrink it so we don't see it. I like the blur, I think, the best, and I think this needs to be a darker color, so just kind of look at it. Just extended the edge. It kind of feels like a soft orb around it. That's what we created, and I'll show you that layer by layer, but I do want to fix this and add that outer stroke. That was the secret sauce to this, what the blanking fill is doing there. There. Just want it to be a soft orb. It's okay if it stands out a little bit. That's kind of cool. So that's as it's expanding, just creating a color, light color. And I can even fade it out if I think it's too strong. But I love that color pop because it's the ice cream shop. And look at that. It just adds some color and texture. Outer stroke. I'll just build it from scratch. Just grab it in onto that layer. And I love it. I'm just going to shrink it down. And let's see what softness on the shadow up and blurring the blend down so it's not so strong. There you go. It's a super soft. Because to me, the softness is around the image. I don't need a soft shadow. I just want it to stand out from the background. And there you go. So we started with that, this dark image, and we landed over here. We got there. Just added some pop, and they will love how it plays back. Beautiful. Copy and paste that effect now, those main effects onto that. Create that wall. Might have to expand it out some more so it fits. And then grab that and copy that effect over there for the outer stroke. See how it's now created that blanking fill there? That's the only thing I don't like about. I like the color that the blanking fill does because it uses color from the image, but I don't like the fact you can see the top of it. I don't know if you crop it out sometimes, if that completely does it. For this case, it does. You can just fade it out. It's also pulling your color, but there you go. Just created a little frame around it. Love it. The only other thing that I could add that I did over here in the beginning on this clip, I added some cool grain. I like the graininess on this one. It kind of feels oceany. Let's see if I can find it. So that right there adds all this grain. Let's go in here. Sorry, I'm going a little fast. That's just plain soft background. There's your grain. And that really does pop. The only thing I don't like about it, I think it's too strong. So if I go in here to the exact grain layer, pull up tray. So we like the grain. You see how there's another film damage layer that's adding another vignette that's kind of making everything a little too dark. Just turn that off. You don't need that extra layer. And I will show you how I build that in a minute. But we're liking it. We're liking what it's doing. I'm just going to apply it to all the same clips. Move over here. Now it's just the same grain layer. I think the grain, it's fine that it's kind of getting everywhere because there's a lot of noise and digital texture already going on. This kind of gives it a feel that it looks a bit nicer. And I do want that the blanking fill there. I'm going to copy the blanking fill. Boom. Love it. It's just kind of bleeding out on the edge. So I'm going to take it off with a crop. There you go. Simple. Oh, we got to do the outer stroke. And that's going to create all that stuff. So we're just going to take it off. Maybe we need a little more or less, depending. Yeah, that's nice. That's soft. Nice and soft. And then we need the outer stroke. Outer stroke, which is a plugin. There you go. Great. Just draws your eye to the right places. Adds some color, some texture. And I really didn't have to do much of the images at all to kind of tighten them up. I think the order might need to be changed now because we want the ice cream shop ones together. So let's do that first. Ice cream together. Kids playing together. Kids eating, kids playing. So we want also kids right here. Ice cream. Another kids one. Kids. I like this a lot. Just tighten it up a little bit. Just drag it over. So I have ice cream. And we have kids with grandparents. Us. Us. Kids. Little kids. So those are the pictures. So that's the new slideshow. They wanted me to add some fishing pictures too. Part of me just wanted to insert these straight into the slideshow, re-render it, resend it out to everybody else. But I think this is great as it stands. Cream trip with a million napkins because it was dripping everywhere. That's cute. Put that in. We'll put the fishing stuff in there too. And copy and paste effects on that one, and then do copy and paste effects on that one. Quick and easy edit. Like that. We don't need the bottom of that or the top of that. That's fun. Boom. It's a fun selfie. All right, let's do some fishing. Lay it all out. Laying them all out like trading cards. We had tons of fishies in the beginning. 6 different breeds of fish. Fishermen and photographers, videographers have to cull through their stuff. These look wrong. Color correction. Boom, the color's back. Doesn't look perfect, but it looks correct. Like that. That's how it looked coming off the camera. Great colors. Like some of these don't look right. I think this was that looks natural. That looks like overbaked. So maybe we're gonna reset the ones that looks fine. I think that looks a little too red anyway. Maybe we reset it. Like some of these Like, that's fine. That's correct. We don't need to overdo it. We said we weren't going to overdo it. I like the colors on some of them, but it just looks also a little too stylized. That looks right. So that was gray. That looks fun and exciting. Just depends on the mood. iPhone ones definitely look right. I love her speckled trout with the color. I like that too. But the rest of these can be kind of gray. I don't think we need two of those. I don't know if this one was earlier too or not. No, she's just doing the same face. She was catching so many. All right, so we have all the photos. The way that I want to retell the story is actually in order of who caught what. So I'm going to drag down Anna's together. Put mine somewhere else. Then Uncle Sean will start there. It was us three. There's Uncle Sean with his grunt. It's my spec. Oof. Put him up there. It's a good one. That was the full haul. Me, two duplicate. Great, now I found duplicate. Then the fish. So let's insert his there. That's why I created space. Boom. Copy, paste, cut, paste. So we have the whole journey from Anna, Uncle Sean, and me. Correct order. In the videos. All right. So I went through, finalized my edits on this. So I want to show you the full screen. Looking good. Really clean. All these layers are adding up. I decided for all those to keep some nice blurry background. But for the water ones, I'm doing that effect. Since most of them are vertical pictures. And doing very light to no color correction. Pretty much just straight out the camera. So with that little vignette on top, you can kind of see it in this example. I take all of the effects layers off. Without, with. I like it. Tightens it up a little bit. Draws you in. Then it goes all the way down. And it goes into some videos. Yeah. That was fun. The effects. Good. Boat coming out. Very raw. And as it was, just a little fun thing. I'm thinking about inserting him into the slideshow, but I think we need to go back and just tell you the slideshow itself. So let's talk about how I made the title slide. Here's all the layers to it. It's going to stutter through the whole thing, so maybe I should play it back. Here's the intro. So the title sequence on this first layer, I started with this title right here. If I delete all of the layers, just disable it for a second. I picked this font I just love this font. Got that Noto serif display. I went through a ton, and that one just popped. And I just changed the outline, make it red, white, and blue. You know, under the shading, all those settings. And it looked really good. And then the Wilcox Clan too, the same thing, and just changed the spacing of it. But so for that title, I wanted it to fade in with a zoom. So I added a zoom that starts there and zooms out. It kind of jitters there. But we wanted, this is how you build it. Another layer there that helps fade in, because originally it wasn't faded in, it just kind of jumped in. I just wanted a little bit of a softer, every little bit counts. And then those two, texture with the other adjustment clips too, and that's black, but that's with the image, and so the image moves with it. I love it how it moves in sync with it, with that solid color also fading it in unison. Kind of feels historical, you know. It's that bay. So then I added some more grain and text layers on top of it. The whole thing there you're seeing the grain. It's going to stutter and buffer through it because it's trying to process it. You see the dirt and the lines, all that analog damage, which is up here. I mean, you're talking softening and sharpening, film damage. It just looks really textured once again. Film damage, and then I'm adding that film look creator just on this part of the image, not the full image. Just didn't want the sky to have it. I just wanted it to feel like to draw a smooth sky. All of this is very intentional. And then another layer. I took off some, another soften and sharpen, and another film damage. Just doing a little bit with and without. It's another vignette too. Then that texture, just making all that grain and all that stuff pop. Looks good. I was really happy with that, and of course it crossfades. It has two different swipe, going to the film reel and the sound effects, and it pops into this image, which is just a blanking fill. That is just what that is. On that stretched out, so you can really see the reflection. It looks like glass on the water, and just the image. Had to center it because I wanted to fit the text, obviously, and then add that color and texture against the background. That's all it is. It looks really good, and then it crossfades into the slideshow. So I rendered that out because it was a lot of processing. And then it goes into these, which have a ton of processing as well. So I'll walk you through it. The first layer I learned is a tool to help add contrast without adding contrast, called a key. And it's very subtle. Here's without. It's kind of looks light. Then with, it just adds a little bit. It's taking those lower pixels and just kind of darken it without adding contrast. It looks clean. So then I added this other layer that's doing, let's take you under the hood. Soften and sharpen every time. I was just taking out some of the midtones, I think, because it was just kind of unpleasant. The midtones sometimes can be unpleasant in grainy photos. Just wanted them to look softer. And this guy is doing a little bit of vignette. I don't know. I just like what the vignette does. It kind of, sometimes when bright TV's on, when people watch the slideshow, just kind of blinds you. I want it to feel dark and soft and draw you in. And really the bright areas of the image speak for itself, you know. And there's your film look creator just on these areas, not on the face. Didn't want to add too much grain, but there's without the grain, with the grain, and the vignette. That's the main thing on that too. I'm just layers and layers of vignette. That's without all that. I mean, it's good. That looks good too. I would use that. There's just something about that that draws you in a little bit more, and you can see that little line of dirt and grain. I just love it. I love how pleasing that looks. Same with a lot of these. So let me take you into how I've created the backdrop there. Blur all the way up. So I have that as the background, and I'm just blurring it all out. And that's the main effect on the lens blur. Just add a lens blur behind that layer and then doing an outer stroke like I did on some of those other ones as I showed you. Same with that, but I leave some of the texture in now. And then there's also this backdrop, which I'm adding in. Kind of feels like a frame, you know, nice color to it. But the frame, when you add it in a different way, you go in here as a soft light, it's applied differently than if you do it a normal. It's really hard to tell the difference though. Same with that. It's almost underneath the image. And this layer is actually doing most of the heavy lifting. Those are more for texture. If it's not blanking fill on the whole thing, like for instance, if that's not there, you can see a lot more of these. You can see that obviously we're covering that frame up with the blanking fill. The blanking fill is actually on this one, right? Right. Oh no, it's not a blanking fill. I literally just zoomed it in. Sometimes I'll do a blanket fill, sometimes I'll zoom it in, depending on what I want. Um, so let's look at, I'll just take a little bit under the hood here too. Nothing on that one. Nothing on that one, but this one right here, as it fades in, slides in, and it's an off-timed transition. There's your texture. This looks great too, you know, it's pretty sharp. I like how it looks. It just looks kind of duplicative. That just adds some crazy texture. There's your analog damage. It's on a custom preset, but it's probably built off of, you know, one of those that I just kind of dialed in. Some of the effects here. There you go. And film damage, another layer, just again, a vignette. I'm seeing grain. I'm seeing, again, just, I don't know, just, I like how soft and creative and painted on it feels. And fun is the word. And here's the transition here. So you have two slide downs. That one's sliding down. So when it's moving away from that, pushes down. And then this one slides down faster. The actual image. Remember, that's the background, which is also cropped out. It's just affecting the edges. But it's covered up by the real photo. Can't even tell it's there. Beautiful. Same with that one, very similar effects. This one was fun too. Again, a recrop, widescreen kind of feel with a simple background. Those layers right there, without that and with it, just adds a little bit around it. Of course, the grain as well on top and the key darkening. I just love that. More of that, more motion blur and lens blur and texture. All these layers with and without. I just built these one by one and moved them around until I liked it. There's the background by itself. Just so you can see, just creating a background for the image to live. And I could have shrunk it down and cropped it out, but I kept a lot of these the way they were. I liked the feeling of it and just left some of the videos with just a little frame and subtle background around it. Cute. Sometimes I liked it a little bit softer of a blanking fill. Like that actually has a blank fill, but I could have done that. You see how that's got like a lot, a little bit too colorful and distracting. You just want a little bit. They even had it down to there. And you can still see it. You can feel it. But it's not in your face. Dial it in a taste. I love the color on this one though. That one was very fun. And there's a slight blur maybe on the edge. Just kind of draw your eye to the sharp center. Same with these. I think you see the theme now. A lot of this was just dialing it into taste. That exact effect. That one had a heavy lens blur, zoomed way in the background. You can see the hexagonal lens blur. That was fun. A lot of these had the same effects. I'm trying to think what else. I spent a lot of time on this particular frame because I wanted it to feel like we're looking through the wood planks on the pier and you can see his face a little bit. I just wanted it to feel personal. And it did. A 2-year-old took that, 3-year-old took that picture. So goes down here. That was fun to zoom in this texture and blur it out and darken it a lot. That is literally just the 6. If I take away that, that's literally what that is. That is the couch zoomed in. And I may have, yeah, it's like this part of the couch right there, zoomed way in. It's amazing how much texture I got exactly what I wanted. After Effects and grain and that. That's all I wanted. That's just be the background. It looks perfect. Perfect to the eye. Then I had, this is a little fun thing I did with the firework. Let's see if I have a, because I had to do 2 edits of it to add in some more photos, obviously. So for the fireworks section, moved it up, obviously, and then I did this color thing. So that's how it looks. All those frames, and it cuts off because I rendered it out already. Was it? Here you go. I'll just show you the real one. Just frame by frame. Colorful split. And it's red, white, and blue without even trying. Like the yellow, I just kind of lived with. And that was a font called Fireworks for free from dafont.com. And I wanted it to roll in, then I wanted it to just be fun from here on out. And then all of these transitions are they look cut in, like clipped in, lines, just fun. And it has the fun song called Celebration underneath it. It's giving fun, okay? It's giving fun. So the kids doing sparklers and all kinds of photos of it. I don't know if I added some clicky sounds or not. I think I just kind of let the music take over and then it goes into fireworks. That's how I chose to conclude it. But just wanted to give you that insight into the process of building a slideshow from complete scratch and so, just a lot of the elements, layers that went into it, the sound design too. And all I did was pretty much just, you know, I did have to click some of them if I want to be instrumental and turn down the voice on the music remixer. Oh, you can't see it. The music remixer. I literally turned down the voice. That's how I created the instrumental track. I love DaVinci Resolve. Tools like this, man. And I'm fading in the volume maybe 2 dB to make it a little louder, quieter sometimes, and making sure it's not overdoing it and drowning out the actual stuff. But all these little clicks right here too, I guess you can see all these every time it's something transitions, and I switched it up. I switched it up. Some of them are louder. Some of them I even pitched. See the pitch? It's not the same because I've pitched a lot of these just different, slightly different clicks pitch. Every little bit counts when you're coming. Kind of comes down to like making it feel real. These are real moments. I wanted it to feel real. So I'm really proud of how this turned out. Hope you liked it. Hope it was lighthearted and fun. And hopefully it inspired you to edit some photos, spend some time, some quality time dialing it in and making something you're really proud of to show and to share those you love, man. And that's all this is. So leaving it there for today. Thanks for stopping by. See you back, Rose.